Hello, fifth graders, and welcome to another week of math here on BCPS-TV. My name is Mr. Tang, joined alongside with Mrs. Machi, and we are here to bring you some grade 5 advanced material. This lesson is lesson 1 for the week of May 4th to May 8th. Today we will be dividing mixed numbers using improper fractions and various strategies for dividing fractions in order to find quotients. Take a minute to think about the strategies you have already learned about dividing fractions. Let's name some of those strategies. If you were with us last week, we took a look at visual models such as number lines, fraction strips, and area models. You can also use finding common denominators and using multiplicative inverse, or the reciprocal. Let's take a look at what Pearson has to say.
Let's practice dividing mixed numbers by finding 3 1/4 divided by 1 1/2. First, we'll use compatible numbers to estimate. 3 1/4 divided by 1 1/2 is close to 3 divided by 1. 3 and 1 are compatible because they are easy to divide. 3 divided by 1 equals 3. The quotient should be approximately equal to 3. Let's keep our estimate in mind while we find the quotient. Now, let's find the quotient. Start by writing each mixed number as a fraction. 3 1/4 equals 13/4. 1 1/2 equals 3/2. Next, rewrite the problem as multiplication. Remember, instead of using 3/2 for the divisor, use its reciprocal, 2/3. Then, multiply the fractions. 13 times 2 equals 26. 4 times 3 equals 12. We can write 26/12 as a whole number or a mixed number. Divide 26 by 12. Rename the fraction if needed. 2 2/12 equals 2 1/6. The quotient 2 1/6 is close to our estimate, 3. Our quotient is reasonable. So 3 1/4 divided by 1 1/2 equals 2 1/6.
Wow, that was a nice little visual. Let's turn to Mrs. Machi to see what she has to say.
How can we use common denominators to divide mixed numbers? To solve the problem 3 1/4 divided by 1 1/2, first we need to write each mixed number as a fraction greater than 1. 3 1/4 is equivalent to 13/4. 1 1/2 is equivalent to 3/2. Next, we need to find a common denominator. 4 is the least common multiple for our denominators 4 and 2, so we will use 4 as our common denominator. Now we will write equivalent fractions with the common denominator. I can rename 3/2 to 4ths by multiplying by 2/2. 3/2 is equivalent to 6/4. Now that I know that 3/2 is equivalent to 6/4, instead of thinking of my problem as 13/4 divided by 3/2, I can think of it as 13/4 divided by 6/4. Now that the denominators are the same, I can divide across the numerators. 13 divided by 6. We know that any number divided by itself is 1. When we have a fraction with a denominator of 1, we can rewrite the fraction as the numerator, 13 divided by 6. I can rewrite the problem 13 divided by 6 as 13/6. Now I need to rename the fraction greater than 1 as a mixed number. 13/6 is equal to 2 and 1/6. So 13/4 divided by 3/2 is equal to 2 and 1/6.
Wow, Mrs. Machi, you are absolutely incredible. So now, boys and girls, it's your turn to try it. You can practice the strategies you have learned for dividing mixed numbers using Reteach page 12.6. You can also practice using the guided practice problems on Practice 12.6. Once you feel confident, complete the independent practice on Practice 12.6, numbers 15 through 19, as an assessment of your learning. Remember to keep your work in a safe place so you can share it with your teacher. Great work today. You can watch this video as many times as you'd like to help you learn the strategies for dividing mixed numbers. And as always, stay safe, wash those hands, and do the math.